G'day off trackers, welcome back to another product review. So Lloyd, what do you think of the sharp new hat?
You know how I feel about it, mate. I'm saying nothing. I've got nothing to say except for a guy that bashes ponies all the time, you look like you're a ringer.
Called me a hillbilly earlier.
You are a hillbilly.
So back at Off Track HQ, which means we're doing another product review. So this week we are on to the Dometic. As you can see, Kings went back and I bought the Dometic. So interesting, I've been doing a little bit of testing on it and actually quite shocked. So I really want to make everyone aware in this video. The information that I gave on the Kings 85 litre and on the Dometic 85 litre, it is only relevant to 85 litre fridges. I had the 65 litre Dometic and it was a ripper. And obviously because it's a lot smaller, it's a lot easier for the actual little fans that they've got in there that blow the air in to keep them cool. So all the stuff that I'm learning now with these bigger ones is actually really interesting. So let's go into the review. First off, we'll walk around the outside and I'll sort of point out some key features that I've learnt about it. So first thing I like, Lloyd, if you come around maybe this side.
Oh, we're getting behind the scenes.
I've got nice shorts on, don't I? And ripper shoes this time.
Did you even have shorts on last time? I don't think I came around the back.
No, you didn't. Luckily, I've got the counter there. So big difference I've noticed with this one versus the 85 litre Bushmans and Kings. As you can see, they've actually expanded and used most of the rear of this shelf to give it a little bit more airflow, where the Kings and the Bushman was actually compacted really close. And I reckon that's why it struggled a bit more in hotter climates. As well as the actual cooling foundation is a bit different. It comes through here and goes through these, which gets the fan straight onto it. So they are very different in the back of it. One big thing I'll get you to touch on here, I should have brought the cord.
So this is product review preparation 101. Dylan running back with a vital bit of information.
So I'll plug it in now, that makes it a little bit easier to explain. So really cool feature about the Dometic, and the Ingle I think is the only other one that does this, is, put my microphone back on, hopefully they could hear me, is both of them, 35 degrees and running, not
it's warm, man,
idea.
It's warm.
Okay, we're back in action. So the Ingle and the Dometic both have an actual separate 240 volt cord, so you can run it permanently off your house as a bar fridge. I reckon that is a really massive added value. The Bushmans, you can buy an inverter that you plug your cord into, and then it adapts it and you can plug that cord then into 240. So that's a really massive added feature. Onto a couple of the negative things. You'll notice the material that they've used. I don't like it as much. I'm not a fan of the silver. And what's funny, it's actually still really hot to touch. I thought the silver would help repel the heat. It definitely doesn't. Another big one, the seals on the Kings, whether or not it's different to the Bushmans or not, but the seals on that one was phenomenal. The seal way better than these. First one I actually bought, the seal came bent and buckled and I had to take it back instantly and swap it over. But the other weird thing, the Kings latch basically latches it closed, where the Dometic, if you come around here, Lloyd, it actually opens up before it latches. So if you have something fall on that door, you're going to have all your cold air fall out, and you're really relying on that seal to actually keep it closed than this latch, which I'm not a fan of. The seals themselves, I'll give you a look at them. They're nowhere near as good a quality. They still seem to be doing the job. There's definitely no air leaking out, but just not as good a quality as the Bushman / King ones. Onto the inside of the fridge, seeing as we've got it open. So I'm actually a fan of the blue plastic. Lloyd, you're not, are you?
I just think for the price, the fridge is not a pretty fridge.
No. Well, actually, I don't mind this, but I'm assuming you feel like it's a bit flimsy. And if you look up in that top corner, hello.
Broken.
Broke first time I used it. It caught on my arm as I lifted it open and it just free fell down and then cracked. So unfortunately it is quite cheap plastic, but I don't mind the blue. Instead of the pull-out drawer, you have a drop-down little door here to get into your crisper. What that's really handy for, as you can see, you can get in and grab your stuff, where the drawer helps stop a mess get on the ground. But if you mount it in a canopy or in a car setup where the fridge doesn't open to about that degree there, you can't pull drawers out. So this avoids that and you can still get into it. Does mean it actually is a bit harder to clean, because if you can't open it the full way, then you can't get that drawer out. The other big thing, which I really rate Dometic for doing this, they're the only fridge on the market, I believe, that do this. So you have a massive freezer that takes up the whole roof, but it can come out. And then you have the whole thing as usable fridge, which in our 65, that was really, really handy. We constantly ran it without the freezer. Also means you can clean the freezer really easy.
Can the whole fridge become a freezer?
Yep, whole fridge can become a freezer. I'll run through now the dials for you. So let me spin it around so I can see a little bit more. So on here's your dials. You basically hold it to turn it on. Got it hooked up to the battery so she's all working. It then cycles through and it'll give you the buttons on these side, and you see the lights. So that one on the bottom is freezer, and you have to hold it for 3 seconds to get it to change. Then if you hold it again for 3 seconds, you'll change it back to fridge. So that's not using much power. And what I've noticed, each one of these doesn't change the temperature as say, but it actually changes the amount of current that it pulls. So each one uses a little bit less. And then the freezer one uses, it's actually around 5.2 amps if you have it on that freezer one trying to cool it down. So I'll put up on the screen now a whole bunch of the overlays, and I'll grab my phone so that I can actually see. This was the test I did this morning. It is fairly hot, but this is unfortunately our current Queensland temperatures that we're running. So I tested it today. It was 35 degrees outside, and I put it inside our ColourBond shed because I felt that's probably the closest to the temperature of a canopy or a car. It was 38 degrees in the shed, and what I basically did, I had it set on the coldest fridge mode, so that way it could get the most amps to cool it down as fast as it could. Started at 9 AM, and the battery was on 135 amps. You'll see that on this slide. And it was 28 degrees in the fridge. So I then ran it until it got down to 3 degrees, which happened 2 hours later at 11 AM. And it used a total of 126 amp hours to achieve that. So total time it took to cool down was 2 hours, and used 9 amps to do it, which worked out at 4.5 amps per hour. So that'll bring me on to one massive thing that I want to talk about this fridge. This fridge uses a lot of power. I took it away on my work trip up to Gladstone, 135 amp hour battery. I came back with 27% after a day and a half of usage. So that's pretty phenomenal. Not saying it's a bad fridge, because I'll put up a photo now. It got to 50 degrees in the car and the fridge was still on 6 degrees.
And that's a pretty accurate battery usage because you had no way of charging your battery.
Yep, no way of charging the battery. So I'm not going to say it's a bad fridge. I'm going to say if you're in hot climates, this is a ripper fridge, because 100% it will work in hot climates. If you're using it for what I'm currently doing, where I'm basically just got that battery box that it's hooked up to, I'll close it up, Lloyd, and you can show them the battery box. If you've just got it hooked up to that and you don't actually charge it while you're away, just be warned, you will only get about a day and a half usage on a hot weather. And it worked out it was using 3.8 amps per hour for the day and a half. So in no way am I saying it's a bad fridge. I'm just saying it's a very hungry fridge for power, where the Kings and the Bushmans used between 0.5 and 1 amp to run. Obviously the Kings one didn't have the power to keep it cold in the hot days in the car, where this does. So to me, it more suits the setup if you're going to have it permanently on in your caravan, because that way you don't have to wait the 2 hours for it to cool down, and it'll be a lot more efficient than when it's trying to actually get cold. Or in a van like yours, if you want to have a small fridge, or in like a high ace van that they convert, be really good.
I also think if you are touring, to have your second fridge in your car, have it running all the time as a second fridge.
Yep. Yeah, I don't think uprights are designed to be on and off. They're more designed to permanently run, then be cycled on and off. They just don't cool down fast enough. They use a lot of power to do it. First, once they're on, they're a lot better. besides this one. It does use a lot of power. So I am going to stick with it. I haven't pulled this off yet. That might be annoying a couple of people that annoyed Lloyd. They do give you a little bit of plastic to protect you from being scratched, but I'm actually going to order a cover for that. Put my logo on it so it's a bit pretty. So something that I really want to note that is really peculiar to Dometic. So when they supply it with this little length of cable, which comes pre-stripped and just the ends. You actually physically have to put on your own connections and then put it onto either a cigarette socket or onto an Anderson plug. To me, that's a bit weird. I think it's something that, for the money you're paying for this fridge, it wasn't cheap. It was, I think they're like $1,300 retail. It should come with an Anderson pre-done on it.
Are they assuming that people that are buying these are building them into a cabinet or something like that? Is that?
But even if they are, put an Anderson on it, then you just put an extension.
I agree. I totally agree, because I wouldn't want to do that myself.
No. Versus if it came with an Anderson, you could then extend it yourself. I've had to extend it because it was too short, but if that at least had an Anderson on there, I would just buy an Anderson extension. So to me, yeah, that's one thing that I have to say I really found weak by Dometic. And I gave this style of connection a go. It's 12 volts, so I don't have to be worried about electrocuting. They're waterproof, so hopefully nobody smashes me in the comments. And there's no voltage drop. I've checked, because these aren't meant to be that good. I've checked at coming out of the battery and at the back of the fridge, and the voltage is exactly the same that's going in there. Not sure there's much more to sort of talk about it. As far as whether or not I would recommend it, for the certain situation I would. For what I'm doing, no. Definitely don't do it if it's for just running off a battery. You need to have the ability to top your battery up. So, as always guys, if you like this review, please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. See ya.